Welcome. This is ninth lecture on group theory and today I am going to discuss about types of representation, reducible representation and irreducible representation. Before proceeding to this video, you must watch the previous lecture on representation theory of finite group and we will try to understand this concept with one example. To begin with, let's remind ourselves what is representation of a group. Suppose we have a group G and this group is of order G, that is a finite group, and we have a collection of non-singular matrices T. Okay, and this collection is such that it satisfies one property Ta multiplied by Tb is equals to Tc if A into B is equals to C in the group G. If this property is satisfied by this collection T, then only we can say the collection T is the representation of group G. Okay. And what is the general form of any matrix belonging to this set T? Let's suppose we are working in a linear vector space in which the operator of G acts, then this TA will look like this. Okay. This is the general form of matrix. We all know that. This is all about the representation. Detailed theory of representation you will find out in the previous lecture. You must watch that. I have just given here a brief recap of that. Okay. Now, in order to understand the concept of reducible representation, we must know what is invariant subspace. And this is a part of linear algebra which we are not covering in this lecture series. But I will give you the brief introduction here, a kind of definition. Suppose we are working in n-dimensional linear vector space in which the operator of G, group G acts, and for every element A in group G and for every vector phi in Ln, if we have A operating on phi vector belongs to Ln, then we say that this linear vector space is closed under G. What it means, you just need to operate any element of G on any vector phi. And if you find the resultant vector belongs to Ln for all sorts of combination, then only you can say Ln is closed under the operation of G. Now we will see the idea of proper subspace. A vector space Lm is said to be proper subspace of another vector space Ln if every vectors of Lm must be in Ln and vectors of Lm do not exhaust the space Ln. How we can understand it? Just come to the real space 3D and 2D. So if Ln is 3D and Lm is 2D and we are doing some kind of operation on xy plane, suppose you have a triangle on xy plane and you gave it rotation by z axis. In that case, all the vectors on xy plane will be a member of 3D space. That's true. And vector of this 2D space, that is in the xy space, do not exhaust all the vectors belongings to 3D space. Therefore, here 2D is the proper subspace of 3D, right? Now we are very close to understand the invariant subspace. We have two different kind of definition, closed vector space and proper subspace. We just need to combine these two definition. We know Ln vector space is closed under G and Lm is the proper subspace of Ln. If this Lm is also closed under group G, in that case we can say Lm is invariant subspace of Ln. Okay, Lm has to be proper subspace of Ln as well as Ln must be closed under group G. In that case, Lm is said to be the invariant subspace of Ln. Okay. To understand it in detail, you must visit your linear algebra course. Okay. Now we are in a place where we can go for the reducible and irreducible representation. Let T be the representation of a group G in vector space Ln. Okay. And if Ln has an invariant subspace Lm under G, then in suitable basis, the matrices of representation have the form like this. Ta equals to d1a 0 xa d2a. Here d1a and d2a are the square matrices of order m and n minus m respectively. Xa is a matrix of order n minus m cross n and 0 is the null matrix of order m cross n minus m. Now as T is the representation of group G, then we can easily write TA multiplied by TB is equals to TC for A into B is equals to C in the group G, right? This we know. So just substitute the value of TA and TB and just use the matrix multiplication and multiply it, and what we will get this matrix, and this is equals to TC, right? Just solve it further, substitute the value of TC and we will get this equation. Now what we will do, these are the equal matrices, so we need to just compare the corresponding element, and what we will get, D1C is equals to D1A, D1B, D2C is equals to D2A, D2B, and XC is equals to XA, D1B plus D2A, XB. Look first two equations carefully. D1C is equals to D1A, D1B. What is this? This is the property of representation, right? TA times TB is equals to TC. This is exactly same thing. DC is equals to DA times DB. Okay. Therefore, the set D1 and D2 itself representations of the group G in the space of dimension M and n minus m, right? So what we can conclude from here, we started with the representation T of n dimension space and we reduced it to the two different representations in the dimension M and dimension n minus m. That means in the lower dimension. And this is not restricted to only two representation. We can reduce it further if possible, right? Now we are in a place where we can justify the name reducible representation. What is reducible representation? Reducible representation is any representation which can be reduced into the lower dimension. Okay. Just like here, we have reduced the T, which is representation in n dimensional space. We have reduced it to the representation in m and n minus m dimension. Therefore, T is said to be the reducible representation of group G. Now irreducible representation, and it is very clear and obvious. If the representation with no sub-representation is called an irreducible representation. What it means? We have some kind of representation and we are not able to reduce it. Then such representation is called irreducible representation. There is an important concept related to it. There is a theorem. Every non-unitary representation is equivalent to unitary representation. What it means, suppose you are representing your group with sets of matrices and that matrices are non-unitary. But if you do some kind of similarity transformation, then you can able to show that they are the equivalent to some kind of unitary representation. Okay. So you can replace each matrices by some unitary matrices. Now we will consider T be the reducible representation of group G and all matrices are unitary matrices. Then we can simply write T in terms of this. As T is the reducible, then we can use this kind of notation. And here, because TA is the unitary matrix, therefore this element XA will be 0. Okay. As I said earlier, this is not restricted to only two reducible form. It can have many. So in general, we can write TA is equals to D1A, D2A, DPA. What it means? Suppose your reducible representation has p number of irreducible representation, then that can have this kind of form. Okay. Now we will try to visualize all these concepts using one example. And as usual, I am always using this example so that it will be clear. Here we will consider the symmetry group of equilateral triangle and it consists of 6 elements. And these are rotation by 360 degree, rotation by 120 degree, rotation by 240 degree, reflection about line 16, reflection about line 35, reflection about line 24. Okay. And in last lecture we have seen that this symmetry group of equilateral triangle can be represented by the matrices, and that are R1, R2, R3, S1, S2, S3, where R1, R2, R3 are the rotation matrices and S1, S2, S3 are the reflection matrices. This is the triangle, and now we will consider this triangle in the 3D space, that means L3, 3-dimensional linear vector space, X, Y and Z. Okay. Now just rotate this triangle about the axis Z. In that case, the rotation matrix will have this kind of form. Here K is 1, 2 and 3. 3 means rotation by 360 degree, 1 means rotation by 120 degree and 2 means rotation by 240 degree. And similarly, the reflection matrix. And this I am calling reducible representation. Why? Just look at this. This has exactly similar form which we are talking about. This is the null matrix. This is D1. This is D2. This is X. Right? Similarly, look here. This is D1. This is null matrix. This is D2. This is X. Okay. So what we can say that this is the reducible representation and its corresponding irreducible representation will look like this. So D1, D2. So this is the irreducible representation and this is the reducible representation of D3 group. You are wondering that why this number 1 we are calling as a representation, because this is the trivial representation of any group. You can map all element of a group to number 1 and that representation is called trivial representation. So that's how we can visualize this reducible and irreducible representation. There is another important concept related to irreducible representation and that is called character table, which we will going to cover in next lecture, and this is just for the glimpse of what is reducible and irreducible representation. So hope all this explanation makes sense to you. See you in next lecture. Thank you.